Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Neighborhood Commission to order. First up on our agenda is the second is the roll call. I'm sorry, first is a roll call. Dylan?
Yes. Bernal, Clark, DeQuevedo, Hano,
Here.
Knight,
Here.
Logue, Nakamoto, Smith,
Here.
Verret.
Here.
We have quorum of 5, Chair.
Thank you very much. And I know Mahia did send her notice that she wasn't feeling well, so just this we know. Okay, next on our agenda is our approval of minutes. Did everyone have an opportunity to review? I hope so. Are there any amendments anybody wishes to offer? Hearing none, the minutes will be adopted as distributed. Thank you very much. Next up is our public concerns. Do we have someone who wishes to speak to a public concern? And this is for items that are not on the agenda, just so you know. Okay. We'll want to go online first. Greg Masakian. Go ahead, Greg.
Aloha, Chair and members of the commission. And excuse me, I've got my girl cat on my lap in case she starts crying. She was crying from the other room, so Kalei's sitting with me. Yeah, I'll make a quick comment. I don't want to go into any level of detail. I know I don't have time anyway. But I've been attending the Waikiki, again, Greg Masakian. I'm a former Waikiki Neighborhood Board member, for the record. I've been attending the Waikiki Neighborhood Board meetings, most recently via Zoom. I just don't have time to get down there anymore with the legislative session. And what I'm concerned about is there's still issues with the Sunshine Law. And I have reached out a little bit to OIP just to ask a couple questions. But I brought up the concerns directly at the meeting regarding the way they do their legislative priorities and deciding the legislation that they're going to vote on. And just to give you a couple quick examples, on one agenda, not the most recent agenda, the one prior to that, they had all of the condominium measures listed, and they had all of the measures listed that they wanted to review, and they had them in sequence. And they just decided to not have any discussion on all of the condominium measures. They just completely took that off agenda, so the community wasn't able to chime in. And I told them that that's not appropriate, that if you're going to have things on agenda, that you at least need to let the public make some comments. And so they just decided to change the agenda real time. And then at the last meeting, the last comment I'll make is, again, I raised some concerns, and I was speaking. I had the floor, and it was at the very end of the meeting, and I was interrupted a number of times by the vice chair as I was speaking. And if you go back and watch the video, I got very upset at some point because he kept doing it. He wouldn't stop. And I said, I have the floor, please stop interrupting. And he stopped eventually, but the meeting ended. So I was able to get at least some level of what I wanted to say in, but it was very disrespectful. And I don't need that in my life right now. I've got enough on my plate with the legislative session and other things that I do. So I'd ask that you carefully look at the last 2 Waikiki Neighborhood Board meetings as just a general concern. Thank you very much. I appreciate that opportunity to tell you that.
Thank you, Greg. If you would email me if you have any specifics, I'd appreciate it. And that way I can take a look at the video and bring it back to the commission if we have to, or I can talk to Lloyd about it and see what we can do. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Mahalo.
Thank you. Are there any other online public concerns? Seeing none, we'll go local. That Tom, or if you.
Thank you, Chair. Tom Heinrich. Just wanted to raise one concern based on the events of today, especially in my region, and that was this afternoon's or midday flooding in Manoa and other places. And of course, we're all familiar with the last week and a half for North Shore and other places, including Manakuli area. And that's just this. With agendas that may already have been posted, And certainly for Manoa, unfortunately, one of the places hit again, like in 2004, is the Manoa Neighborhood Board's meeting place of Noelani Elementary School cafetorium. And in that regard, either arrangements will need to be made for use of this conference room and WebEx only next week or whatever, but just concern for the number of different locations, including Wamanalo, for other things that happened today in Wamanalo, to either postpone or otherwise make arrangements for the meeting place, particularly in-person meeting place, to accommodate the regularly scheduled meetings.
Thank you very much. That would be obviously something for the NCO, but I'm sure that Lloyd will follow up and he can maybe address that during his report. Are there any other public concerns? I do see, Greg, did you just not take your hand down? I think is
Yes, I
probably.
apologize. It doesn't show me on the
Okay.
internet version of WebEx. So I'll
Yeah,
take
no
it down.
worries, no worries. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next item, and that is our executive secretary's report.
Thank you, Chair. Let me see that. Just a reminder, the 311 app, the 311 system. We are very, very high on it and talking about it at all our board meetings. I think it's actually, for me, fascinating that government would actually go out and say, hey, you got a question, call us, or just ask us. So I think it gets better and the more we use it. So, that being said, just a quick update on my meeting with the chairs. We didn't cover anything new, really. Basically, it was going over things like conflict of interest and just reminding the board chairs to err on the side of caution when it comes to conflicts of interest. One of the items that comes up on a regular basis is whether you can add to the agenda. And the truth of the matter is, if it's of major importance, you shouldn't add anything to the agenda. And if it's of minor importance, well, maybe it can go to the next meeting. And so the point is, just be careful on how you proceed. One of the other items that has come up a number of times with OIP, and just a reminder again, that all board members should be very careful when they email other board members. And do not get in the habit of emailing everybody and start talking about board business, which is really easy to do, even though you start off just information. Again, it was just a reminder for that. One item that actually I brought up and I'm going to bring up again is many boards have committee meetings, and there are a number of boards that have committee meetings. They've had committee meetings for a long time and there are no minutes for them. And every once in a while, OIP calls me and says, Lloyd, they need to do that. I said, I know. But we will start hacking away at it because there are some boards that have a lot of minutes from the subcommittees that aren't being done. So anyway, other than that, I just wanted to, the last thing I reminded them of was that once you're a board member, you're always a board member. No matter where you go, people will tend to look at you that way. So just be careful when you testify. Sometimes you don't say it, but everybody knows that you're a board member. So you can give the impression that is not correct, and that is the board. I'm speaking for the board, and that's not true. I think the chairs know, anytime the chair can designate you to speak on behalf of the board, but unless the whole board decides, yes, you can, you really shouldn't. And you should be very careful. Other than that, it was a pretty benign meeting, just a reminder of a lot of different things. Okay, next item.
Yeah, well, I do see one hand. Yeah, I think he's going to get to that. Or do you want to wait until, why don't we wait until after you?
Yeah, that's better. Update on neighborhood board brochure. We redid it and we passed it out. I think it looks fine. And if the boards want to use it, they can use it. If they don't want to use it, don't use it.
Thank you, thank you. So I see Kevin Lai has a question or a comment. Kevin, go ahead, please.
Chair, thank you much. I just want to address some of the comments by Secretary Yononaka and item B and possibly item C as well. It's curious to hear that the comments or information related to the Conference of Chairs or its current name address concerns such as not amending the agenda and not communicating with multiple other board members. And it seems that there's an opinion about how those rules work. It's curious to me because it was complaints 2024-32 and 2024-33 that were dismissed because they brought up those particular issues. So again, it's not clear if the commission is receiving complaints that address these particular types of issues as routed through the neighborhood commission office. Maybe that's going to be addressed when we get to item 5C. I'm not sure, but just wanted to
It
bring that
will
up.
be addressed. It will be addressed.
Thank
Maybe
you.
not to your satisfaction, but it will be addressed.
And then lastly, I would inquire again if the actual content of the information that's being shared through these Conference of Chairs meetings, where or when will this be made available on the NCO website for others to learn equally about that type of information? I think that would be very useful. And then lastly, for item C, is that brochure, the one was discussed back in January, touched on last week, is that being circulated solely through the chairs of each of the boards? Thank you.
I don't think we're circulating it through just the chairs. I mean, we just bring it to the board meeting, and if there is a physical meeting, then we leave it at the table. But it's not necessarily, in fact, I don't think we share it with the chairs, we just bring it to the meeting. And as referenced by your comments on the Conference of Chairs, I don't have a Conference of Chairs, I just have a meeting with the chairs. And basically what I go over is things that come up over the course of a week or a month that I feel is important. And most of the time, much of the time, it is just a reminder to be careful more than anything else.
Thank you. Greg?
Thank you. Again, Greg Misakian. Yes, just a quick question on the brochure. Is the brochure available online? I didn't look in the commission's board packet to see if there. I didn't look at all to see if there's any documents. I've had a long day of different meetings and things, but is the brochure available in the board packet? Is it available online? And either way, is it also something you could just maybe bring up just for a moment so we can see the revised version of it? If it's just, or maybe just go through it very quickly. I don't know if that's possible to do that right now.
I can bring it up. You know, if you give us a little bit of time, we don't have it in the room right now. We got to go get it from the office. It is not available online. It's probably something we will put online. But right now, no. Again, it's just a brochure that is distributed.
So,
Yeah.
so the chairs have seen it and they're aware of it, and
No.
if they want to use it.
No,
It's hot off the press.
it's not.
Oh, it's hot off. Okay, thank you so much for clarifying.
Okay, well, let me just say about the brochure, sorry. I actually asked for this to be on the agenda because I wanted, the executive secretary and the NCO got a little bit of complaints about the design of the previous iteration. And I've been going to a number of boards, and in one of the boards, there was profuse appreciation for the brochure. And one of the members would, go out to the neighborhoods, and she used that brochure extensively and was very appreciative. So I just wanted to make that clear that there might have been concerns about how, some of the details, but they were very happy. There have been instances, people were very happy and appreciative of the NCO taking the initiative and making the brochure. And probably as far as having it online and things, if you're coming to the website, you're going to get all that information. I think that's probably more to have people who don't know anything about the neighborhood boards or know about it, but don't really have the information. So whether if you want to post it, that's fine, but it's kind of, to me, more designed for that type of activity.
Yeah, it's more of a handout.
Yeah.
So if anybody's going anywhere, they want to hand them out, we're happy to give them to you.
Sorry, Angie, go ahead.
I had a question for the meeting of chairs. This was asked to me from other board members, and they were wondering if using the neighborhood board network in response to the Kona low storms, how can we find out from other neighborhood boards where need is? Like if there's, which I know falls on the, like, the different chairs to kind of activate, but since you do convene with them, it was just a suggestion and an ask that the neighborhood boards could be a venue to kind of share different volunteer and donation opportunities.
Yeah, we normally share with all the boards and the chairs, especially, all the news releases that come out, things like that. This particular case with the Kona low is, excuse me, it's a little unusual because it is not something that happens on a regular basis.
Sorry.
We would be happy to share. The problem is the information is not all in one place, you know? Like one board in one community is doing this. Excuse me. So we can, it's just, we don't have that information. We just know they're doing something. You know, they're having a collection drive or something.
Yeah, I think what they were kind of asking is just to present the opportunity so that if a board chair does have something going on, if it could be disseminated through like the email out to the other boards so that, for
We can,
instance, like our side can get more involved with like, well, Manoa's going through it. And then like on YNI and Nanakuli and then up and then North Shore, just through the neighborhood board channels that exist.
That exists all year long.
Yeah.
You know, anything that comes up that doesn't just affect one neighborhood, if it affects others. Yeah, we get requests from those chairs, saying, hey, can you share this with other boards? And most of the time we do, because it's not a conflict.
Sounds good.
and it doesn't prohibit the board chairs from just sending something to another board. chair.
Collaboration.
Right.
Just a friendly
Yeah,
reminder.
most of the emails are public.
Monthly
anyway.
meeting would be great.
Gotcha.
Since you already talked to them, just be like, hey, people want to help.
Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately, this was before the storm.
Yeah, but next month.
Next one.
Thank you.
Is there anything further for the executive secretary? If not, thank you, Lloyd. We can move on to our new business, and the first item is a review of the city charter proposals. And I put advanced because, I mean, there were a number initially that affected the board, but they have not been advanced, so they are not on the plate anymore. So taking them sort of in order with the last one, not. The first item is P039, and Tom Heinrich, who's been going to the charter commissions, has graciously kind of offered to give a brief overview. Brief, please. Go ahead, Tom.
Understanding the social pressures that have been applied. to keep it brief.
Thank you. The board.
Okay, Tom Heinrich, speaking in my individual capacity. Let me kind of give an overall quick summary of where the charter is at the moment and then give you a few words on these. First, the Charter Commission met earlier this afternoon, purely as what was noticed as a continuation of its meeting of last Monday, March 16. The agenda from a week ago was very long for the purposes of planning. Chair, you asked me before the meeting started as to what's being organized by the commission at the Charter Commission at the moment. And the short answer is there are 3 permitted interaction groups, PIGs, that have been formed, 2 last week and the final one today. And pertinent to this particular discussion is that the section, I should say the grouping of proposals dealing with quote unquote boards and commissions, which includes the neighborhood board system, is assigned to permitted interaction group 1. The Charter Commission also indicated that it would have staff prepare a quick summary of here's PIG 1, 2, and 3. Here's who the members of the commission are assigned to each of these PIGs. And here are the proposal numbers and maybe a sentence or two as to what is now assigned to those permitted interaction groups. In addition to that, at last Monday's meeting, was distributed I want to say it was like 3 or 4 pages, in essence of what the rules, what the operating procedures would be of the permitted interaction groups. Critical to that was underscoring that no PIG would make a decision on any proposal. Rather, they would do additional research, discuss it, etc., come back with recommendations, report to the full commission. The first report and the next commission meeting is now scheduled for Monday, April 13 at 2:30 in the afternoon. It may only be one permitted interaction group reporting, not sure which one yet, okay? Okay, so that being said, the boards and commissions grouping being in permitted interaction group number 1. One other thing was emphasized today, and that is if anybody has testimony they wish to submit or whatever, just do it. Don't wait for something to be agendized because the Charter Commission is operating quite differently in the sense of accepting testimony. And as well, if you submitted some tomorrow, for instance, that would also be on the website available for the PIGs to timely consider. Okay. So with that kind of intro, specifically now, proposal P is.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. The point of putting these on the agenda is so if the commission so desires to make a stance, we can submit testimony or someone go testify. That is the point. The commission doesn't have to do it, but that's just in the back of your mind when you hear these things. Go ahead, proceed, Tom. Thank you.
I appreciate that comment. And as well, it is an opportunity in the voice of the commission to offer comments. One other introductory comment, and that is there are some proposals that are not listed here that were not advanced. They were briefly considered by the commission. And in essence, while they're not on the table any longer, one thing was consistently noted on several of those proposals, whatever they may have been, and that is that in the perspective of the Charter Commission, those proposals were not necessary because the Neighborhood Commission already had the authority to propose certain things within the context of the neighborhood board system through either the commission rules or the neighborhood plan. So the Charter Commission was cognizant of that distinction and that authority that may already be in place before this commission. Okay. Okay. Proposal P039, and actually I should say one more thing. Each one of these 5 proposals has been advanced for further consideration, and that's all it means. No other decisions have been made by the Charter Commission as to whether to do additional work, to actually put it in position for being prepared as a possible ballot question, all the other things that may follow. Okay. So these 5 things are what's still on the table, if you will, and have been advanced right now to the PIG number 1 for further research. So P039 was a proposal, and I don't recall in front of me who the proposers were. That is posted on the website if folks want to check it out. But to change the board voting, I should say election schedule to even years. At this point, that's something that bears further discussion because of some other issues, but it is something that the commission noted sounds like it's already within the purview of the neighborhood commission based on how the elections are established through the neighborhood plan. Okay, so no decision made on that, but the proposal basically seeks to place the elections in the even numbered year and didn't really get into additional elements that others have spoken about over the many years of, well, could we conduct the neighborhood board elections at the same time as the primary or general election. There are other issues that could be considered. But at least the start of the proposal to realign the dates to the even numbered years is still on the table for Charter Commission further consideration. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, with that said, I didn't really look up in the plan. I know that's been brought up and I thought, but I don't know what off the top of my head, I'm not really sure what the authority of the commission is as far as to set the elections. I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably within the purview of the NCO, not the commission itself. But I don't recall. I guess I could look, but I didn't think about that part of it.
Chair, if I may, it should be in section 14-102 of the charter, which designates what the authority, what the responsibility is of the commission to follow this amendment to the charter by actually establishing a neighborhood plan.
Charter.
And it has a few other specific statements in there.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't, the 102 is just the appointment of the commission. And it really doesn't talk about the elections at all. I don't really
Then
think that,
103.
No. So you're talking about the
he's talking about the
charter?
charter, right?
Yeah, the
The
charter.
charter.
I guess we should,
There's only about elections.
yeah, so I think that's probably correct that, without it limiting, I think given the general, authority given to the commission or the NCO, depending on what it is, yeah, they probably can set the time. Okay, well, given that we're not clear exactly on what the ability or the authority of the commission to set it, what do people think about this? And does the commission want to take a stance on this? And it will probably turn, if we already have that authority, then it's a different equation. I think we'd probably want to keep that authority because if any changes were made and they were not good, we wouldn't want to have to go back to the charter to make a change. So I would, is that a good starting point? Does everybody agree?
Got lost.
Okay. So if the commission or the NCO has the authority to set that parameter, in other words, have it even years or odd years, then the commission would want or be on the side of retaining that authority. We wouldn't want it to go into the charter document because then it would be very difficult to go back and change it. Is there any objections to that from the board or from the commission? Sorry. Okay, does anybody want to comment? I saw there was something flashed up from Kevin.
Saying where in the neighborhood plan it is.
Okay, yeah, well,
I think.
does it say odd or even? There's a certain.
Odd number of years.
Yeah, so maybe it is just a plan change. So given that, it may behoove us to recommend the Charter Commission not adopt this proposal. I'm sorry, I see someone online. Greg Mersakian, please, you can weigh in.
Thank you. I was trying to read through the whole section quickly as you were speaking. I didn't see anything regarding how the election should be held or the year. But what's interesting is it's very detailed on how the commission should be selected. And so while that's very prominent within the charter, from what I could see, the election wasn't something that was prominent at all. It was just silent. So unless I missed it, and I know if I missed it, somebody will say, find it right now. So yeah, it looks like you guys can set that, but it's kind of odd that that's not in the charter. I would think that the elections would be something important to be part of that. But otherwise, it just grants you guys the authority to do whatever you want. So I guess
Well,
that answers the question. question.
Yeah, I think probably the reasoning, and I don't know, obviously this was done probably back in the seventies when this was promulgated. Was it's probably, they wanted to just give that authority to the commission office because they didn't want to micromanage it. I would assume. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but I would propose that the commission come down on not supporting this as a charter item. Are there any, well, does someone want to make a motion in that regard, or?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. I agree with that.
Okay, so move that we advise the Charter Commission not to adopt this provision. Any discussion or? Yeah, go ahead, Angie.
Yeah, I
Kevin, I'll
definitely,
get you in a second.
yeah, I definitely think that if it's already in the neighborhood plan, we should retain the, like, that in our realm. I was gonna say, just the idea of switching it to even numbered years, I understand the intent of it. But knowing some of my neighbors, that would be essentially 3 ballots in 1 year. And that'd be very confusing, especially since the neighborhood board election is online only, and then you have the primary ballot, which comes out in August, and then you have the general election, which is in November. And neighborhood board is kind of April-ish, I wanna say. And so I would just say, definitely keep the rule or keep the decision making in the neighborhood plan as is. But I just want to say by having essentially 3 ballots in 1 year, that's going to confuse our existing turnout.
Okay, well, you can make changes to whatever processes you want. You can make it at the same time, maybe depending. But it's just about keeping it in our purview. Kevin, do you want to add something?
Chair, thank you. I would only ask that if the commission did elect down the road to change the year of the neighborhood board election process, aligning it more with the general elections, would there be any impetus towards trying to bring that election process and the operation of it underneath another office, such as Office of Elections, just to address some of the earlier concerns? But
Well, that would be, I mean, let me just cut you off. I'm sorry, but that's a discussion for the neighborhood plan committee. And that's a big discussion. Because that really, you're talking about an election run by the NCO and ask someone else to do it. I'm sure Lloyd has a lot to say, but we don't.
State. And
Okay, well.
board is county, so that's.
Okay, well, we don't need to go there. Let's not get off track. I know, thank you. But that's a big discussion, and that's not really what we're talking about right at the moment. We're just talking about the authority, who has the authority to make that type of decision. So, are there any objections to the motion? Hearing none, so we will take that one. So next up, Tom, if you would go on to 259.
Okay, and if I could just add here,
Oh, you're sorry.
just clarification, sorry.
We voted, that's okay.
14102 only dealt with the commission. I'm so used to speaking of this short Article 14. But anyway, the authority delegated to the neighborhood commission in establishing the neighborhood board system through the neighborhood plan is stated both in 14-101 and then in 14-103.
Yeah.
But the word elections is not specifically presented there. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the second item on the agenda, proposal P 259. And this is that no commissioner may serve concurrently on neighborhood board. I immediately identify my personal interest in this. I am the proposer to the city council, to the charter commission on this. It was proposed by me in 2015, and it made it to the final cut of what the questions may be finally going to the ballot. So there has been stated interest on this by several of the commissioners, but basically the proposal is to add one sentence to section 14-102, which also deals with the qualifications for the person serving on the commission, neighborhood commission, and that is to simply state that no commissioner shall concurrently serve on any neighborhood board. That's the extent of that amendment, if it were adopted and presented to the voters and adopted by the voters. Okay.
Do we have any commission? I actually have something I'd like to say about that too, and I'm sorry, but and it's goes back to the other issue. This is really something that should be left in the purview of the commission. You know, rather than talk about the merits of it, you know, this is something that should be done through the plan. And again, if you do it through the commission and you find out it has problems, you know, maybe it wasn't such a good idea, it's going to be a bear to ever change it back. So there again, just like the first provision, I would suggest that the commission not adopt this or not support it. Go ahead.
Can I ask that before we discuss this, we disclose who's concurrently serving? Because I feel like that's also part of this conversation.
But that's very fair. That's very fair.
Since I am on a board and I'm also treasurer of a board. So,
Larry?
Yeah, and I'm chair of the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, and I always thought there could possibly be a conflict of interest, and if there was a conflict of interest, I would definitely make a comment in regard to that yeah, as appropriately. I think some of the issues here is trying to find qualified people to get on the commission. And you find that in the past, most of the commissioners were appointed from the mayor's office and through the city council, right to from the boards. And of course, you look at what we got on today on our board. I mean, for the commission, we probably got 50% are concurrently on boards.
Thank you. So James, do you serve on you don't serve on a board, do you?
No, not anymore.
So you're like the one.
Yes, I agree. None of you.
Okay, well, just for me, I do serve on the New One board. I was the chair, but when I became chair of the commission, I stepped down. Naomi, I think you serve on the board, right?
Oh, no, I resigned from the Nanakuli board when I became a commissioner.
Okay, there you go. And Christian is actually, I believe, a chair. So, right, Christian?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. So, yeah, we do have, I guess, two of the 6 here.
I should run and get the charter, but the charter also specifies that the commission must be made up of people, and some of them have to have board experience. It's a requirement. So I think out of the 4 the mayor appoints and the 4 council, 2 of them have, 2 mayors and 2 council guys have to have at least some board experience. So, yeah.
But I would point out there again, you're talking about whether the proposal has merit. The question is who are you going to, where is the authority to make that change going to be? You could make that change in the neighborhood plan, and that would be, Okay.
I'll answer your question.
Okay, well,
when I get a chance.
and unless I hear otherwise, which I guess I will, you can make a change in the neighborhood plan. Well, that's true, perhaps. But if you put it in the charter, it's going to be very difficult to undo. Did you have a?
I did have a comment on that, which is if the reason of it feels like there is a conflict, then presumably the conflict would prevent the change. And so it would make sense that it would go to charter for that. I would say personally, I do have some questions of conflict when it comes to the neighborhood plan being chaired by a chair. Because the neighborhood plan, a lot of what we were discussing, like nothing against you, Larry, like I do appreciate how you lead the committee, but it is one of those things where a lot of the time when we're talking about what the plan does, it's on the shoulders of another chair. And so I can see the conflicts there, and sometimes I have questioned the conflict, but that's whenever I do ask about it. And we have the conversation of like exception versus the standard. So I guess in my opinion on it, not about like who makes the decision, but I have had thoughts of having current members of the committee who are in leadership positions on other boards. Because we're a lot of the times we're discussing what other leaders of boards do. I think that made sense. I got a head nod to make that yeah,
Okay.
so I just wanted to give that opinion of it.
Well, let me, I'll go to, Tom, and then we're hit everybody online that has their hand raised. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, thank you, Chair. First, just a couple of bullet points, if you will. Of the 9 members of the commission, section 14-102 of the charter provides that 5 of the 9 shall have served for at least 1 full term. And that was a battle many years ago in which a number of neighborhood board participants really wanted to make sure that there was service, experience within the neighborhood board system. Secondly, the neighborhood commission is absolutely unique in one way in the city and county of Honolulu. And that is this commission is responsible then for an entire system, at the moment, 33 subordinate boards, but subordinate only in terms of flow chart, if you will, for the neighborhood plan, et cetera, because the boards, as we know, act independently, provided they play within the rules. So in that regard, there is presented certain circumstances, which I won't get into, in which there are potential conflicts of interest for neighborhood commissioners that do not present themselves to any other board or commission in the city and county. And then lastly, unfortunately, from my view, the only way that this proposal can be considered is by the voters. Why? Per the advice of Corporation Council, strongly established 10 years ago on this, when the first proposal was we just deal with this by amending the neighborhood plan. The legal advice from the Department of Corporation Council is because the qualifications for those who would serve as members of the neighborhood commission are established by section 14-102, such a potential disqualification of members such as, I'm sorry, presently you're serving on the board, you got to make a selection, whatever. Because that is established in 14-102, the only way to provide for this addressing of the conflict of interest potential in the manner proposed is by charter amendment. So unfortunately, you either adopt this through a charter amendment presentation before the voters on the ballot, or you can't do it at all.
Yeah.
You can't address it by neighborhood plan.
I see. Yeah, it makes sense.
But thank
Okay.
you for that.
Thank you. Well, thank you for clarifying that. So, go ahead, Lloyd.
Clarifying, so, section, neighborhood plan, section 214-102, board term. Item B, all board members shall serve non-staggered terms of office, and all board seats shall be up for election at the same time in odd numbered years. So it's in the, okay, so it is really something that you guys can.
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
Going back to the first one.
Oh, yeah. Right. Okay, thanks.
We were like, period?
Okay, so let's move on to our online folks. I'm gonna go and kind of opposite or from people who've spoken before. Stephen Lindros, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair, for allowing me to comment. Yeah, I think it's on item 2, P259. I don't believe the commission should support that statement because it actually is a benefit if for a commissioner to be on a neighborhood board because it gives them more up-to-date relevant information. You know that because once you're on a board, you have real-time pulse of what's happening in the community. And being on the commission, many times we'll talk about things on the commission and people don't have board experience or don't know really what's happening in the boards currently, then we may lose something in the translation. So actually I see it as a benefit to be a commissioner also on a neighborhood board. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, go ahead, please.
Chair, thank you. This is a very important point. And first, namely, that I've fed all of the documents that the Neighborhood Commission and Neighborhood Commission Office have into a sandboxed LLM. And Mr. Buck can attest that Mr. Heinrich is as fast as, or not faster than, the LLM at reciting information within the system. So kudos to him. But my question is this, and I think Commissioner Knight raised this same point. I don't think there'll be any chance to amend or cede any sort of power, if you even see being the commissioner and a board member as a certain type of power, other than by some other authority. So I appreciate what Mr. Heinrich has described. If the words of Corp Counsel are to be taken here, that it can't be done by the commission itself to amend the neighborhood plan or Title II to reflect that. It would have to be left to the members of the public to make that change. And as to whether or not that is a good thing or a bad thing, you know, I hear what Dr. Melendres just said, and I'm trying to reason through myself, you know, to what degree there could be conflicts that exist. The concern about not having information, or rather having enough information or sufficient amount of information if one is both a commissioner and a chair, well, that talks to a defect in the information dissemination process. I think that can be addressed by other means. Thank you.
Thank you. So in summation, are you in favor of this or not? It was kind of unclear by your comment.
Totally, I'd have to say yes, because I don't think that there will be any goal or benefit to the commissioners, present company excluded, I guess, to giving away that authority to be able to say, no, we don't want to be able to be a concurrent chair and a commissioner.
Well, this won't be just giving away the authority. This will make the change. And it'll say that you can't be a commissioner and serve on a board while you're a commissioner. That's my understanding. That's correct, Tom, right? Did you? I said, this will make it where once you're a commissioner, you have to step down from your board, and you cannot go back to a board until you're no longer a commissioner.
It's the public, what they would want.
Well, that's true. I'm sorry. You're right. That's
Like,
important. You're right. You're right. I apologize. That's pretty
Which
important
is what
step.
council had asked.
Well, let me get to Greg Mersakian, because I said I'd go, or Mersakian. Go ahead, Greg. Sorry. Greg?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, it just took me a second. I was looking at something while you were debating. Yeah, again, Greg Mersakian, I appreciate all of this discussion because I think it's important, but I guess for Chair Smith, since you have the legal experience, when I look at the charter language, if I'm correct. Yeah, I'm looking, hold on one second. Bear with me for 1 second. I just had it up. That's why I was going back and forth. So, yeah. So when I look at the charter language, and I know Kevin Lai put it up so we could all see it. What you see is the verbiage that says the mayor and then the council. It should say city council, but I think we all agree that it's the city council, but it says council. Yeah, I'm on Kekua Council. Does that mean I can, bring in, I don't, commissioners? I don't think so, or nominate them. But it says,
Greg,
that,
please move to your point. Thank you. Sorry.
I will. Sorry, I just say that because it's important that the charter be clear, and it's sometimes it's vague. But it does say shall have served. Two shall have served. It doesn't say two can currently be serving. It says shall have served, and I know that's an open-ended maybe thing. And when you get to the council, it says four, and that was for 1 full term. It says 4 members shall have served at least 1 full term. But it's clear that the mayor can put anybody in that doesn't have to have any neighborhood board experience. So what I would just suggest, if we look at the real estate commission, commission.
Yeah, that doesn't actually. That's not. They're all 1-year terms.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that as far as having experience with neighborhood board issues, so the experience is the key element of why they did it this way. So you have the experience, but do you want to be on the board concurrently? That's a concern I share too, because I do feel when there's too many neighborhood board members, or if they're chairs, and then becomes like a little bit of a clique and things don't go the way of the public. So I just think if we're gonna really end up going down this fine line, if the middle ground someday, when you guys hash this out, is that it's split. Maybe if it's changed, it's 50-50. So if this is still going forward and have as an open discussion down the road and you can decide it, maybe it's 50-50. 50 members of the public that have nothing to do with ever with a neighborhood board, and 50% that have been on a neighborhood board, or maybe can still be on a neighborhood board. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Thank you. I don't know that we can edit the proposals at this junction, so it's probably a,
To the PIP.
yeah. But I mean, they're not gonna edit that. Christian, go ahead, Christian.
Hey everybody, hope you all are having a good evening. Just wanted to throw in a quick 2 cents as somebody who is both a commissioner and a board chair. It's difficult to get people involved in local politics these days, and it's difficult to get people to actually care. And one of the few ways that we get people to really care about the work that we're doing, both at the NCO level and at the board level, is by providing as quick as possible results as humanly possible. And so by encouraging people to come to us and talk to us, and when they see that a problem that they have in the community is resolved and that their voice actually means something, when they come to these meetings, when they spend the little valuable time that they have in their day, that free time that they have to talk to us, and that it actually accomplishes something for the better in their community, in their life, and encourages them to engage with the process. If we start taking out the people who care, like really care, I care about my community, I love my community, and I donate time through my businesses, through my personal life, and this is a part of how I demonstrate that care. And I think by removing somebody or people or groups of people, if they're cliquey or not, who cares? It's this needs to be something that you actually care about. And I think by restricting the amount that you can put importance on one and then the other would be doing a grave misservice to all of us. So this is something that we show up to for free. This isn't something I'm getting paid for. My my dental, my medical is not being covered through this. Like we truly care. This group of people in here. I have some words that I'm not allowed to say on live camera, but we give it a lot. And I think by selectively providing filters on which people may or may not ascend upwards and have influence over the thing that they really care about, we would be opening quite a bit of opportunity for people who don't care but just want to cause issues, or perhaps enjoy the bureaucratic process more than the political process, to take a larger foothold. If we end up pissing people off, that's excellent, because then they're going to raise their voices and they'll be heard. And that means that they engage with the political process. Either way, we win. It's just about keeping people involved, because we are fighting very hard for that right now. And anything that moves in the opposite direction of that, I'm very firmly opposed to.
Thank you very much. So is the commission ready? Remember, we don't, we don't have to take action or a position, or we can table this, or we can take a position. Larry?
I would recommend that we take a position on this, because I see no problem the way it is right now. And especially with the highest ethical standards that we demonstrate with this commission. If there is a conflict of interest, we will identify it and we'll handle it appropriately. I don't see a problem with it, but I think that we should provide testimony, to the Charter Commission on this particular subject.
So what I'm hearing is you made a motion to oppose this charter amendment. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there is a second. Is there any further discussion? I think we have discussed. Did Christian raise his hand? Christian, did you raise your hand again, or is it? from before.
Sorry,
Right.
no, I'm just bad at computers.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so I hear that we're ready to make a decision. Are there any objections to the motion to oppose this? Okay, so,
We would like to hear the public's like comments on it, because getting it to the vote doesn't mean that it has to go into effect.
okay,
But I
so,
genuinely would like to know if people do see a conflict.
okay, well said. So let's do a quick roll call. vote.
Yep, roll call.
Thank
So
you.
just to be clear,
Say-
the motion is to
Will,
oppose,
here we talk, yeah,
the motion is to oppose P 259.
correct.
All right. Dave Caveo,
Well, you just do the people that are here.
Yes, but roll call.
I'm going by last name.
Okay,
Let me start with.
sorry, I just shouldn't have said anything.
Knight.
Did I hear my last
No.
name?
Yes, Christian, how do you vote? The motion is to oppose this proposal.
I'm sorry, the internet keeps cutting out right as you're speaking. I'm so sorry. Please repeat that one more time.
The motion is to oppose P 259. Do you support or do you not support?
I do not support it.
Okay. And then, Hano Hano?
I take it that was on the affirmative, though. He doesn't
Yeah.
support the charter amendment, so it was an affirmative vote for the motion.
Yes.
Let's just, yeah, just to be clear.
Oh, yeah.
You were
Okay.
good enough to not get that.
This is why I hate politics.
Hano Hano,
I say yes on the motion.
thank you. Knight.
I was like, I already voted.
I know.
Vogue.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
okay. The motion does carry.
5-1.
So we will propose, or we will have testimony to say that the commission opposes. Thank you. Next up is P 263.
Okay, P 263, also submitted by me, which was simply to change the title of our executive secretary in the plan, or excuse me, in the charter to executive director. Last week or the week before, I forget already, as these meetings come together, Lloyd Yoninaka was also present at the Charter Commission meeting and testified in support of that change, noting to the best of all of our knowledge, that is the only position in city and county that goes by executive secretary. We don't know why that was chosen so many years ago. Yes.
Thank you. Does anybody want to make a comment on this?
Question.
Yeah, go ahead, She.
Why? So my question for it just says executive director, but isn't other
Executive
departments?
Secretary.
No, the change to it. Sorry, what is going, it was going from executive secretary to executive director, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or just director.
well, that was my question, because most of the other departments, are they not just directors of? So,
Yeah, there's a difference between a department and an office.
okay,
Yeah, because the department is specified in the charter, department of whatever.
okay,
And there are a number of offices, including this one, but there's like, the climate change group is another, really an office, they're not a department.
okay, I just wanted to clarify that, because that's what confused me.
Is the head of that office called the director or
Executive director.
executive director? Okay. Go ahead, Tom. If you-
Just to add to, the actual proposal selects executive director as first choice, looking at the various positions. Administrator in past conversations had also been suggested by some. But again, because of the unique circumstances that here's somebody who is serving in both roles meaning, in essence, the executive secretary to the commission, but as the overall director or administrator of the board system. So again, it's unique in that regard. But it always, when I had the opportunity to serve as executive secretary under Mayor Carlisle, it always caused confusion for the other presiding leaders of other agencies as to where the hell did that come from? Because it was the only position that had that title. It was just weird.
Thank you. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I'm kind of questioning, why is this going to the Charter Commission? Because the city's managing director and the mayor together, when they take a look at their line chart of all their directors and executive directors, deputies for all the different, they just make the changes on the spot. Why does this have to go to the community when the managing director should be?
It's in the charter.
Yeah, that's sort of.
It's in,
It's this one's in the charter.
It's the
Yeah.
shortest answer.
But
The
the
language is in the bill.
So we'll go to our our comments. So Michelle, can you state your name since this is the first time you've just said something? Go ahead, please.
Aloha, Chair Smith. I'm sorry, I wasn't planning to speak. I just put a comment in the chat, but it is so obvious that the Neighborhood Commission office serves the commission and the boards. A Neighborhood Commission office does not have a director, and I question the term executive secretary. It has a deputy director who was recently appointed arbitrarily. This is a mess. What we have to do is clean up the mess and create a clarity for the Neighborhood Commission office to be serving the commission, not the commission to be serving the Neighborhood Commission office, nor the boards. The boards have been subject to the Neighborhood Commission office's arbitrary policies to shut them up and cut their meeting times down and everything else. So this is outrageous. The Neighborhood Commission office serves the board and the commission with what is needed, such as the secretarial support, distribution of agendas, distribution of draft minutes, which the board needs to review because a lot of times they are biased and incomplete based on certain choices within the Neighborhood Commission office. We've been through all of this. We've complained about all of this. Now we have a chance through the Neighborhood Commission Plan Committee to do something about this. And I can't say it more clearly or more often, so I'm just going to cut it off and let you decide. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments from anyone? Would
I mean, I'm kind of curious if Lloyd has an opinion.
he testified in support of it?
Just say I
It
was
was-
curious.
It was testifying in support based on just making it consistent.
Okay.
Yeah, again, as Tom had mentioned,
Yeah.
I believe I'm the only existing executive secretary, or at least that the position is. So whoever comes after me, it was just, and from my opinion, is just make it consistent with everybody else, that's all.
Thank you. Do I hear, does someone want to make a motion in some respect to this provision?
Chair?
Well, okay, go ahead, Greg. Please, very short.
Thank you. Well, you didn't recognize me. I had my hand up also.
I don't think so. Maybe you thought you did, but anyway, go ahead, please.
I did. I just lowered it just now. Hopefully you see it. I could see that it was raised. In any event, yeah, my comment on this is that an executive secretary, I think in the context of why this was chosen, is someone who's handling the day-to-day operations of the neighborhood boards that are out there. An executive director, say if you look at a board, or if you would be overseeing the commission, maybe that would be something that would oversee the commission or a board, but not neighborhood boards, which are independent entities. So I think the title was chosen carefully when it was chosen back in the day, and it's lived this long. So I really don't know why it's necessary to change this at this time, but I don't think it reflects properly the position to say executive director. So So that's my 2 cents, Mahalo.
Thank you. Just so you know, I think your hand is opposite. It's up now. So I think when you thought you put it up, you actually put it down. So just so you know, for future. Yeah, so it's off now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Um,
thank you. I think there's an issue with the web, but thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
no worries, no worries. That's what the confusion was. Thank you. Go ahead, Stephen.
Hey, I have a quick question for Tom. Tom, you mentioned the term administrator. Why is this office not an administration office instead of a executive secretary? I would tend to agree with Greg's comment, but it actually would fit more under administration because administration is what the state uses and the county should be following the state. An administrator administrates a department, which is exactly correct. Executive director is a different story, and it's also a different pay scale. So I would recommend either keeping it like this or maybe recommend to administrator type title. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, does someone wish to make a motion?
I so moved such an idea.
You
What's
move
the
to
idea?
support?
Support, yeah, sorry, my brain's turning.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for the commission to support this proposal. Any further discussion among the commissioners? Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Sorry about that. Second. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thought you were second.
No,
Okay.
you look so ready.
Sorry.
You had your chance.
Thank you very much. With that said, I think we're ready to move for a vote. Are there any objections to adopting the support of this proposal? Hearing none, the commission adopts this or supports this proposal. Thank you very much. So next up, we have P-194. And this is an interesting one. I looked at this. It's kind of in depth. So maybe not too long, Tom. Sorry.
No, this one is really brief. P-194, there were really a handful of different proposals. Some were almost identical in literally the language of the proposal, and others were on the topic of basically trying to advance greater participation / recognition of Native Hawaiian cultural practices, et cetera, and trying, in so many words, to have somebody, preferably a Native Hawaiian, but somebody who had direct cultural and traditional practice experience, undefined. So whether that was just, from the community or from academia or whatever. So in that regard, this particular proposal used the term percentage, which we know boards and commissions are of various sizes or whatever, so that's problematic in that way. But that's the gist of it, is to have directly more representation in some fashion of the Native Hawaiian host community on various boards and commissions or other agencies of the city and county.
The way I would have described the proposal, and it's been a little while since I looked at it, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it wasn't just like someone of Native Hawaiian heritage. It had to be someone with a degree, some type of Hawaiian studies degree, or have appreciable Hawaiian related, I'll say community or charity work. So there was a big barrier, and it wanted a quarter of the commission, and it just, I mean, I can tell you, we have, in my board that I was chair, we have Papa Kaleo, which is obviously a big Hawaiian community. And we were lucky to get 3 members out of 9. And that's a third, and we're lucky at that. But if we lost 1, we would be under the threshold. I think it's difficult. The boards are not in the position of turning people away for the most part. I mean, once in a while we have a big, election and people don't get to get those seats. But typically speaking, over the years, we want people to serve. And if people really want to serve, it's unlikely they're going to be denied that opportunity at some point in time. And so I think to thrust this requirement is rather difficult. But anyway, that was just my thinking. Tom, did you think I mischaracterized anything?
No, not at all, because there were, again, at least a handful of different proposals. Some were kind of that traditional language that you suggest, because certain boards require, let's say, business representation, an attorney, I mean, things like that. And certain other more recent boards are more general in how they describe what might satisfy experience, if you will, whatever. So, you know,
I just think it would be tremendously difficult. I don't know what the repercussions of not having that threshold would be, because I mean, we'd have a hard time if we even reserve that amount, we'd have a hard time filling those positions, I think. I mean, this is great aspirational wise, but in practice, I just think it'd be tremendously difficult to put into practice. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to keep going on. Larry, go ahead.
And the key thing is when we have our elections, the community decides who they want to be on the board. So, I mean, you could have all Hawaiians on the board. You know, you can take a look at Waianae and Nanakuli, you'll find probably the majority because, you know, most of the Hawaiians live on that side of the island. But the thing is, as far as equal opportunity, the people are going to vote who they believe should be on the board. And it's not based on any ethnic background or anything like that, in all fairness.
Before I get to members of the public, let me recognize Christian. Go ahead, please.
Is such that nobody here should even want to come close to. Either way, it will not turn out well. You are either putting the onus onto the Native Hawaiian community to join the board, or at the same time have a group of what I would like to acknowledge is largely white and Asian gentlemen and women telling a Native Hawaiian who has blood quantum but does not hold a Native Hawaiian degree, which is not something that a lot of cultural practitioners have because it's taught culturally, and then turning them away for not having the appropriate cultural understanding because it did not come from a Western institutionalized education. While also at the same time too, a lot of my Native Hawaiian friends who are very politically active in their communities would not participate in what could be considered an extension of the United States government, because in doing so would be to provide the acknowledgement that the government is recognized here in Hawaii. So there are so many different ways that this can go so poorly for everybody involved. And you know, I agree with what Larry said. If to run and people in the community feel strongly about being represented by these people, then we should do everything in our power to make sure those people are heard and seen. Outside of that, though, setting blood quantums and educational requirements for representation in the ways that a certain group of people feels that representation must be put forward, or the way that they recognize it in their own personal understanding, I think is an exceptionally dangerous conversation to even approach. And, you know, the freedom to run is pretty much the thing that we should support. And outside of that, let it do what it do. And outside, this can just only go poorly, in my opinion.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have some? Angie, go ahead.
I just want to clarify, when it says boards or commissions, it's including like our district neighborhood boards, correct? Not just like the neighborhood commission? I just want to.
Yeah,
clarify, 'cause when we
it's
talk
all
about-
boards and
No,
commissions.
because sometimes when we talk about the different things, there's a stipulation. So, okay, so it's, okay, thank you.
Sorry, one
are
last.
there any-
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Christian.
Also, by putting this quantum forward, I feel as though bad actors would be able to point to boards not being filled with the necessary amount of quote unquote Native Hawaiian representation and point to it as a red herring, and that this group has a refusal or an unwillingness to participate in local politics and would not be heard. Again, I don't feel like this goes well in any direction whatsoever.
Thank you. So we're moving to recognizing members of the public. I think Jacob, we haven't heard from you, so can you state your full name, please? And then go ahead, please.
Aloha, Chair Jacob Winsek. Appreciate the opportunity to testify. I share a lot of the concerns regarding Proposal 194. I think there is maybe a better way to ensure greater Native Hawaiian cultural representation and inclusivity on our community boards. But this proposal, after having reviewed it, seems very heavy-handed. There's the strict either formal education requirements or the fairly loose experience requirements. And then there's the logistical trouble of trying to ascertain the 25% composition number for all of our, I think, what are we at, 40 something neighborhood boards? So
33.
33, thank you. So I think there's a lot of logistical problems trying to implement this, and there will be a lot of consternation back and forth. So I would appreciate it if the commission would oppose this proposal at the Charter Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I see Kevin Lai. Please go ahead.
Chair, thank you. Devil's in the details. Have a question, and it may turn out to be a pass through to Mr. Heinrich if you so choose. But Commissioner Knight raised a similar point. If the application of this would be to the neighborhood boards themselves, I would think probably not, at least in part because Corp Council has ruled that, number one, we're not really elected. We don't have any significant powers. So the question is, do we know if the writer of the proposal was putting the emphasis of the adjective governing on governing board, governing commission, governing suborganization, or if neighborhood boards as non-governing entities, would they then be subject to this proposal if submitted and ultimately passed? That's what I'm curious to know. And I thought that the Charter Commission canceled its meeting today, so maybe there was a prior discussion about this particular proposal.
Thank you. I will turn it over to Tom. Maybe he'll have something, but let me just say first off, as far as language like governing or having certain authority, I read the Sunshine Law, and I'll tell you the first part of the Sunshine Law pretty much would, if I think fairly interpreted, would exclude neighborhood boards. Obviously, the legislature didn't agree with that interpretation because they included language explicitly including neighborhood boards in that. So, and my understanding after the initial model law or the legislation was passed, the initial one. So I would be hesitant to kind of hang your hat on that interpretation to carry the day. But I'm not sure. Tom, do you want to weigh in on that?
In a very limited way. I do not know what the Department of Corporation Counsel thinks of that proposal. There may be on the website now, I haven't checked, but handed out to the charter commissioners at last Monday's meeting were in fact two, I'll just call them lists, but with initial Corporation Counsel recommendations, maybe that's not the right word, but review of the proposals as to whether it was appropriate for the charter or not appropriate, and some other considerations. So how Corporation Counsel might think on this type of proposal, I'm not sure. A different comment though, Chair, to what you just said. Something that has come up in a couple of conversations very recently in Charter Commission and other contexts is the distinction that especially has been made by Corporation Counsel and OIP, and that is that the Sunshine Law is applied, at least from their statements, only to Part 1 of Hawaii Revised Statutes, Chapter 92. If I remember the number correctly, what refers to neighborhood boards and, I forget the new term, outreach groups or something like that. It's a broader term, which was only added in 2025. the bottom line is that is part 7, I believe, and not considered to be part of the quote unquote sunshine law, which causes other confusion in that regard. But in that sense, you know, I certainly agree with Kevin in that the devil is in the details of how you apply certain things. And one last comment, and that is, again, I don't know whether this would apply, this proposal, but part or the 92-1, the key statement relating to the sunshine law is that the sunshine law does apply to the neighborhood boards because the boards are specifically established by Article 14 of the charter. So the sunshine law applies in that regard, both to the commission and to those boards that are to be established by fleshed out by the commission, because they are specifically set up by the charter of the city and county of Honolulu. Okay, thanks.
Well, I think it's in the definition. We could talk about that, but we're gonna, about whether it's covered and by this definition. But I think if you go in that law and you look at the definition of boards, we're not covered. But that's my opinion and it's been overruled. So with that said, oh, I'm sorry, Angie, go ahead.
I just wanted to, because I haven't had a chance to look at it, apologies, but I think also the defining difference between the neighborhood district boards and the neighborhood commission is that the neighborhood commission is appointed, but the neighborhood boards are elected. And so that is one of the clarifying things about this charter like amendment that I'd be curious about, because if we're talking about representation on appointed boards, that's very different than elected, because elected would be, gotta be honest, you'd have to rig an election to make sure that we meet that quantum.
Well, people would have to qualify that.
Well, it's one of those ones where it's like you could have that many candidates going, but that doesn't mean that they all won to keep that percentage. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, I don't know how they do the mechanics, but I'd assume they'd have to reserve so many seats and you'd have to be qualified to be
Like that to be
eligible.
clarified.
Sorry, we lost audio.
No, I
So,
would just like to clarify that.
Well, before we move on, Greg, and probably move to the question. Go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, Chair. That was very well said, actually, what the last commissioner said, because it's an election. And when you start imposing that you have to be a percentage of Hawaiian or look at this as a Hawaiian cultural thing, that's a concern. The other issues just to simply consider are that these boards don't have true decision-making power. I mean, they can make recommendations, but they're not making decisions that the hard decision that's going to impact the community. They're making recommendations. And lastly, to open that whole circle up, so there's a 360, the members of the public are fully invited and welcomed. They should be welcomed to go to the meetings. So if all of the people from the public go, and say that community is a high population of local Hawaiians that happen to live in the community. I know Waikiki's quite a bit of split. A lot of mainlanders. I'm a mainlander. But if that's the case, then they can go chime in on their community so they have a seat at the table. So the only place where this may come into play is maybe at the commission, but not at the boards. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. My understanding it applies to all the boards and commissions. I don't know about the restricting language, but that would be my understanding, but no one seems to be exactly clear. So with that said, do we have a motion to take action regardless of what the action might be?
I make a motion to offer comments regarding its inclusion for neighborhood boards that are elected.
Okay, so you want to move that we oppose it as far as being applied to the neighborhood boards?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
Do we have any objections among the commissioners for just that restriction is to submit a comment that we do not support this for application to the neighborhood boards.
I just want to quickly point out how poorly all of this will read, no matter which way we put it.
Well, I think it would have to be done a little diplomatically, like, while we support well, I'm glad you brought that up. So just to make sure everybody's on the same page. I'm sure everybody supports Hawaiian, people of Hawaiian heritage participation in our boards. I'm sorry, in our boards and commissions, but in the case of the neighborhood boards, which are elected, we feel like this is would not work in practice to achieve the goal that is set out to achieve. How about something like that?
I think that by putting any restrictions on genetics, cultural, or educational requirements for any members who wish to be a part of the board, we oppose this.
Everybody, okay, we didn't hear any objections, so we're just kind of massaging the language. Okay, so is everybody okay with that? I think just something kind of diplomatic of saying that we oppose application.
Important to just clarify that we're in opposition to, like, as Christian said, this is for elected positions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was the motion, so
Yes.
that was done by without objection, Dylan.
Okay.
That was done without objection.
Without objection.
Thank you. Okay, so we can move on to our last one, and that is P003. This is a little unique because Tom will say why.
Thank you, Chair. P003, I got to give credit where credit is due. Christopher Moylan, who is a member of the Manoa Neighborhood Board, has served in a couple of different situations, both in elective office in California, as well as on appointed positions here. One most importantly being the Honolulu Authority for Transportation. That raised several issues, and then it was further aggravated by the neighborhood board situations that most of us have experienced numerous times. And that is that the denominator to determine quorum is a set number. And that is, let's just use this commission as the example. If you are established at 9 members or a neighborhood board at 17, that's the number you use then to determine whether you have a majority present in order to conduct business, and as well sets the minimum majority requirement for the adoption of any affirmative action. So as this relates specifically to neighborhood boards, the proposal would be to not include in determining, let's just say for today's meeting, the vacant seats of that board or commission, so that you would actually, for the moment, reduce the denominator and therefore also reduce the number of persons present required to conduct business. Okay, so the action quorum, if you will. There are 2 different elements here. One is, what is the denominator? So proposal A, if you will, is to not include vacant seats. That's the first element. The second element is, once you have established what the quorum is for this evening, okay, for this particular meeting, then the second element would be to then change to Robert's or adopt the Robert's Rules of Order, which the neighborhood plan does, and require simply a majority of the quorum present to then adopt a motion.
Okay.
Now, in the charter context, that 2-step, not sure how that may be done, except to draw from the language, if you will, of, now let me change focus for a moment, what was submitted, introduced to the Senate as Senate Bill 2397 by Senator Carol Fukunaga, whose district includes the Manoa Neighborhood Board, is exactly the proposal that I just said. First, don't include in determining what the present quorum denominator is, any vacant seats. So that number can change. But also, step two is once you have established quorum for the evening, then rely on Robert's rules, and that is a majority of the quorum present is what you need, okay? That is the proposal in Senate Bill 2397. It was amended only on one point on the floor by floor amendment in the Senate.
Well, let's not go too much into the Senate bill. Let's talk about what the Charter Commission is talking about.
That's where I'm going, if you bear
Okay.
with me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Senate passed the bill by floor amendment, simply changing the effective date. And that's the usual technique to just say, we want this to go to conference, we don't want it to fast track or whatever. The Senate bill as amended is now referred to the House Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs. It has not yet, looking right before this meeting, it has not yet been set for hearing. I don't expect it to be set for hearing probably for at least another week and a half because it is a single committee referral. So there's more time the committee has. That being said, the advice to the commission, Charter Commission, was if the intent was only to deal with neighborhood boards, Senate bill does it. If the legislature passes that, Charter Commission doesn't need to do anything. However, one of the reasons why I refer to HART, the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation, is Mr. Moylan's experience on HART very recently was something that most of us never quite think about, and that HART includes ex officio members. Well, there are a lot of boards or commissions that do. But interestingly, in the HART situation, the ex officio members are designated as non-voting members. But by determination by Corporation Council, always are included in quorum. So even if you have non-voting members not present, that in essence counts against the possibility of being able to conduct business at today's meeting, if you will, okay? So what's before the Charter Commission actually has greater consideration and elements, nuances to consider. So what they may do, not totally sure. But there's kind of two bites at the apple here, if you will, as it relates to neighborhood boards. And the cleanest one that relates to the neighborhood boards is the Senate bill. So what the dynamic may work out in front of the Charter Commission remains to be seen. And especially because everything that I just said is part of that consideration for the PIG's research as to, is this a proposal that is even necessary to go to charter? As it relates to certain of these commissions like HART, the answer would be yes, that's something that is established in charter. But as it relates to the neighborhood board system, there's actually a different alternative that is advancing in the state legislature that at least by comments of the past two committee chairs seems to be strongly supported, hasn't finished the process yet. Thank you, Chair.
So, but presently, if the state law does not pass, isn't it somewhere, I mean, isn't the basis for the quorum and the voting requirements already in statute? So, or am I mistaken? In other words, so can you have the charter amendment be, actually be functional if you don't have a change in the state law? In other words, isn't
That's a good question. Let me not try to address the question as to how it might be presented in the charter. Because there are attributes on this question that are both set forth in Hawaii Revised Statutes and in the city charter that establishes quorum establishes quorum as a majority of all seats, if you will, to which that board or commission is entitled.
And that's in the state statutes.
That's in state statute and it's in the charter.
Okay, yeah,
So-
but I
so
mean, it's the
basically,
state
you're
statute
9.
is- yeah,
Your number 9 never changes for any consideration.
okay. So, well, it really won't change the calculus as far as the commission is concerned, because we can support it. It doesn't mean that, you know, if the commission, the charter commission decides it's not needed, then they can just dispense with it. So just to kind of put that out there is, it doesn't matter. Angie?
I have a question. On the agenda, it says tabled. Is it tabled?
Thank you. Chair and I spoke about that right before the meeting started. I was politely just called that an error.
Okay.
The bottom line is the spreadsheet on the Charter Commission's website has 2 entries to it, and it's in reverse chronological order. And so the bottom line was the proposal had been tabled for 2 weeks
Got it.
to allow some additional research to be done. And then on January 26th, it was by vote advanced for further consideration.
Okay.
Okay, so
tabled for that
P003
Got it.
is still fully on deck.
Thank you. So just to clarify, to sum it up, as I have it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, the proposal first, for the purposes of quorum, does not include the vacancies. And then secondly, for the purposes of voting, we'll just go to a simple majority of those present.
Of the quorum present, correct.
So, well, quorum once it's achieved, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that is the proposal. The question is, so, does anyone have any comments or want to say anything? Any of the commissioners? Go ahead, please.
Okay, so the way that the current neighborhood board system works is that every board has a magic number from it. Thank you.
Sorry.
So,
When you say magic number, you mean the number of seats that they,
well, no, so
Okay, the
they
magic-
have a set number of seats that include possible vacancies, and then there's a magic number for quorum, which means if you have to have that many people to have a vote.
okay, well, let's not call it a magic number. Let's say quorum.
Thank you.
Okay, I know.
So, like, common speak.
Oh.
Yes, whenever
Sorry.
we have it, like, do we have the number? Like, okay, so in the proposal, it would basically drop the bottom number, the denominator rate, to not include vacancies, and then basically half that, or not half, but whatever it is, it'll drop the quorum number, essentially.
Yeah,
If
Okay.
you have a 15-member board
Yeah.
like Diamond Head and you had 5 vacancies.
Yeah,
then
so-
your quorum number would be 6.
Okay, so it'd be like the 50
You only
plus
have-
1.
You only have 10
Yeah.
people.
And so then the second part of the proposal, which is the part I got lost on, is
that's for voting.
for voting, it would be subject to how many members are actually there at that meeting.
So if your quorum was 6 and then 6 showed up, you have quorum and now you only need 4 out of the 6 to pass something, which is
Okay.
drastically different. Than
That's where I have concern. I just want to clarify that because I was like, just because it's ever changing. And so essentially, because you can't discuss how you're going to vote for sunshine, but it could just be like, for instance, December, people just happen to have trips a lot of the time. And for the places that don't go, it could be relative. So I would say I have concern with the quorum number changing per instance, but the one to not include vacancies or ex facto, that makes sense, in my personal opinion.
Let me ask you this, Tom, if this were passed, would it allow us to change the voting scheme for the neighborhood boards in the neighborhood plan? In other words, could we say, notwithstanding quorum, you still have to have a majority of all the votes available? I mean, could we do that in the plan if this were put in the charter, or would the charter language rule the day in the sense that we can't change it? Do you know?
Safe answer number 1 is always, I don't know.
Yeah.
Answer number 2 is there are a number of circumstances that we're all familiar with in which certain things are established as minimum requirements
Yeah.
that local circumstances, said poorly, if they are more stringent, may be allowed. I would hesitate though, and would think that, if this were established in charter, then that would probably, apply, to, any city and county board or commission or whatever. But it's an open argument under 14103, which is you establish the neighborhood plan. And if you wanted something that was more stringent, it's a good starting argument.
I would think so, but it's unclear. Maybe if we were to accept the proposal, we could put it with the proviso that we would ask that this be a minimal type of requirement and allow us to change it in the plan.
Only because it kind of incentivizes people not to show up, so things get through.
Yeah.
That's my
Gosh,
hesitation
Tom.
with it.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said what you just said, because a moment ago you said something that draws the distinction without your having used the vocabulary. The distinction between a vacancy and an absence.
Yes.
If you are absent from a meeting, the quorum basis doesn't change.
Okay.
Okay,
But
it's
the
only
vote-
if.
Yeah, the
that's
voting.
Voting's that
Vacant.
major.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yeah.
But the voting is still affected.
That's why I was confused.
Like, I understand what you just said about quorum, but no, the voting would still be affected, right?
That's based on how.
Let's work that through real quick.
Thank you.
If you have 9 members, I like the 15, so a little.
Okay,
If you have 15 members
Yes.
authorized and 15 seats filled, then your magic number, your required quorum is 8. If you have 2 vacancies, so now your denominator is 13, then your 50% plus 1, this is only changing at 1, but is 7. You have vacancies.
Yes.
But if you have 13 seats and you don't have 7 members present, you haven't achieved quorum. Okay, you've got to draw that distinction between, is there somebody in fact holding that seat, or is that seat vacant?
Which is where we got lost on the
Well,
second part of the.
yeah, the
proposal.
second
But I was trying to
is,
clarify.
so 7 people show up, then
So
it
if you
becomes
have-
a 4-3
So
vote.
if you have 7 people in that example, then if your quorum is 7, then the second step under the Senate bill would be you revert to Roberts, which is now, instead of requiring 7 votes, which if you only have 7 present, you gotta have unanimity, good luck. Now it would be a majority of 7, so 4 votes, so a difference of 3
Yeah.
effectively. 4 votes is all that would be necessary in that particular circumstance to affirmatively adopt whatever's before the board.
Can I ask one more clarifying
Oh,
question?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So in that instance, to even call the vote, though, you have to have the quorum from the first.
Well, once quorum's established
That's
at a
what I'm saying,
meeting,
though, you
it's
have
done,
to
you're
have-
done with that.
Okay, so the quorum to call the vote is still the 50% plus 1 of the filled seats.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, team.
And,
Got it
and one
there.
last quick comment, and that's simply, again, what we just worked through is what is presented in the Senate bill. You don't have any clear proposal presently before the charter. It's the general question. It is not stated as to exactly what the proposal would be yet. So that's something that's got to be developed in the PIG and then by the full commission.
So what you're saying is, did you say of the filled seats?
Of the filled seats is the proposal. Because they're saying to have the quorum number, have the magic number change so much, it would exclude the vacancies.
Filled meaning they are present in the meeting?
No,
Okay, so
I'm
there's this person assigned to that seat.
yes,
So
that's how you get the
basically-
first quorum number.
Right, so basically you're gonna have a 15-member board.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how many people are there or not, but you need 8 to have a quorum.
Yes,
And once you have 8, then 5 would be a majority of 8. So then 5 people out of 15 can determine the position of that board.
That's correct.
I just wanted to make sure we all got the math because I got lost in it. So
And,
thank you.
and is this, and I don't know, this is for boards, all boards?
Or elected.
Again, the
Elected board?
distinct,
It's like elected or appointed.
again, the
I
distinction.
didn't know they make
Your-
that distinction.
The distinction between elected or appointed is not something that I believe is dealt with by the proposal. And it certainly, to my being there, has not come into any charter commission discussion to date. But back to Lloyd, the proposal that we have talked about is presented in the Senate bill only at this moment. And because of where it would be placed as in part 7 of HRS chapter 92 would apply only to neighborhood boards. In order to apply to all city and county boards and commissions, including the neighborhood commission, it would need to be addressed in the charter or potentially otherwise, but because the requirement is already in the charter would have to be addressed.
Well, yeah, I want to go to Christian, please.
First things
Uh,
first, I would like to request that we get a large whiteboard that I can see. So when math is being done, I can see it done clearly in front of me.
There will be a quiz.
Secondly, oh God, no, please no.
I'm just kidding.
Secondly, I would like to bring up, so when I first joined the Kahala neighborhood board, the Kahala Waialae neighborhood board, we were one vote away from, we were one person not being involved away from having no quorum, which in some pretty severe gridlock would have made it even more difficult to get anything done. So again, I think it's about providing access and encouraging people, the people who show up, to be able to make decisions.
Thank you. Okay, let's we're here from our members of the public.
The head chef, Michelle, it's disappeared.
Maybe just
Oh,
put it
he
down.
was.
Let's go to Kevin first. I think we're
Kevin.
meeting.
Kevin, go ahead, please.
Here, thank you. For Commissioner Christian, I did post up a whiteboard, so we can handle that, I'm sure. But I think this is a very key point, and I hope that there's a way that this could be considered, perhaps by neighborhood plan committee. But I want to make sure that if neighborhood plan committee wanted to proceed with something along these lines, that it would be ultimately permitted by either the Senate bill, if that would need to pass, or if that is not necessary for the commission itself to make a change. Here's why I think this is a good idea. I think that putting this dynamicity to who's attending each of the neighborhood board meetings, knowing that if you don't show up, the voting dynamics could change. I think that's going to be a good encouragement to sitting board members to want to attend, to want to be involved, to know that their vote truly counts. Because we've all been in situations where, you know, a resolution, an appointment, filling an empty seat, it just, there's not a chance in heck that it's going to happen because there's just not enough sitting board members there or for other reasons. So I think shrinking the denominator, as we've said, could have benefit in letting the board do more business, get more things done, pass more motions. And if you're concerned as a board member that a lesser number could actually express the will of the board, well, then try your best to show up either in person or by WebEx. I think this is a great idea. I'd love to see this move forward in some fashion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Greg,
Here,
go ahead. Thank you. Greg, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just echo what Kevin Lai just said, and I think it's important to get board business done. With that caveat, I would say that I do think it's important to also fill the seats as soon as possible. And when you do have a board that is having difficulty do that, like I know there was just something on the chat regarding the Diamond Head board, that you take action to whatever you need to do to get it addressed, or make sure that the seats are filled. And if you have to potentially reduce the number of seats for some reason in a neighborhood, you know, do that as soon as you can. The only caveat to the majority present, and maybe look more at Robert's rules, for certain actions, I think it still stands. Hopefully you aren't going to change or amend that. The 2/3 rule, I think, would still apply. So maybe you could just speak on that before you wrap this issue. Thank you.
Okay. I don't think it would say maybe I think the language probably make it sound as if, so with those circumstances in which you need like 2/3, I would assume that the language would not mandate everything be a simple majority. I would assume. And I don't know that for a fact, but that might be something good to point out. Okay, thank you, Greg. Kristen, did you have another comment or did you not put your hand down?
No,
Okay.
still just at a computer, sorry.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so do we have a motion to support, motion to not support, the motion with reservations?
Clarifying question?
Or
Pardon me? Or nothing?
You could always
Well-
send testimony against.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, anybody can do their own testimony. This is just for the commission itself. I'm sorry, what was?
Oh, because we were talking about the Senate one, so on the charter one, it's different.
This is the charter one. My understanding is that they,
Was it just, is that how we opened it?
Talking about the charter.
If I may, the clarification right now is simply that the Senate bill addresses only
Okay.
neighborhood
Okay.
boards, period. The charter amendment, what the language of, a resulting proposal may be, it has not been worked out yet.
Okay.
But if it's something that's for the charter, then it would apply to all boards and commissions.
Okay. So just the charter one is wider of a net,
It
and
would,
Senate is just neighborhood boards.
it would need to be, the placement of the Senate bill proposal is only specifically for neighborhood boards. Anything else that would be for the charter would have broader applicability, but without a specific proposal, that remains a question.
Okay, thank you.
okay, so where do we stand on this? What action do the members propose?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Does improvement support?
Yes.
Second.
I'm sorry, we should probably say it that way. Yes. A motion to support. Okay, we have a second. Is there any further discussion among the members? Don't hear any. So are there any objections to approving the motion to support this provision? Hearing none, the support wins. Thank you very much. We are ready to go. I don't know, these were the charter proposals that I pulled out. I thought that these were the only one really applicable to the neighborhood boards. So I don't know if there's anything further, but if there is, Tom, let me know if I missed anything for our next meeting. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate it, but I think I caught everything.
Well, and just to repeat that, the next meeting is April 13, but no action can take place at that meeting. So, there's a number of weeks to be able to submit comment on behalf of the commission and as well double check to see if there's anything else on the table.
Thank you. So I will submit, write up something. I'll let Larry take a look at it just to second eye and Lloyd. And that will be the statement on part of the commission. And perhaps I can go down there and make oral testimony also. Thank you.
Sure. Kevin.
Kevin, did you have a last question?
Chair, thank you. I know it's not on the agenda, but because you raised the specter of other proposals, I know that at the last neighborhood plan committee meeting, there was talk about term limits and alignment of such with current city officials or other officials. And maybe, Tom, if you add to your list, I think it's P102, which although it only applies or appears to apply to mayor, council members, and the prosecuting attorney, if there was that thought of wanting to align that, if that general concept is where the neighborhood plan committee was going, we might want to provide commentary on that. Just wanted to raise that proposal number 102. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 102, right?
If I can make a quick comment, which is simply, I appreciate that reminder. There was, if I recall correctly, at last Monday's Charter Commission meeting, a couple of comments that related to the neighborhood board system. And in that regard, anything having to do with term limits, because it relates to the neighborhood plan, is something already in the authority of the neighborhood commission. And the Charter Commission said, fine, let neighborhood commission take care of that for further discussion. So specific to the neighborhood board system, the charter commission is not interested in addressing that. That did lend itself to several members of the charter commission saying there might be, don't know if there's been any outreach yet, but there might be an invitation to either you, Chair, or Lloyd, to actually make a brief presentation of what is this thing of the neighborhood board system. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next item, and that is review policy regarding political candidacy of board members. I think we addressed this, but it was just, I think the consensus was to allow a potential candidate during public concerns to just announce their name and the seat that they're running for, and that's it. But that would be the most appropriate time. And it was just to clarify that.
Yeah.
Are there any comments? Kevin, do you have a comment on that issue?
I do, Chair. Thank you for the chance to speak. As I mentioned last month, I think permitting this just opens the door and to a lot of potential problems. Case in point, at a neighbor board meeting last month, a sitting neighbor board member rose during the period of public concerns to make an announcement of a candidacy, yet, however, was literally shouted down from the dais by the presiding officer before that statement could be made. The presiding officer could not have known what was going to come out of that speaking board member's mouth. Yet there was a presumption that because someone was standing during the period of public concerns and was also concurrently a board member, it would not be appropriate. So
Okay,
I think, again, just keep this out of anything except a candidate forum sponsored by a neighbor board, and it will eliminate that concern of, who says what, how much, what type of election, when you're running. There's just too many variables there, and compounded with people who don't, or maybe express an inability to handle points of order and appeals of points of order. It just compounds itself. I think you should get that out of the equation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Greg, do you have a comment?
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly with what Kevin Lai just said, and I share concerns. What I've witnessed at the Waikiki Neighborhood Board is at the public forum section, even for people that are maybe running for the neighborhood board. So if you take this into context of not just outside political activities, but maybe somebody that is not on the neighborhood board, I don't think the public forum portion of the neighborhood boards is any place for political banter where I'm running, or vote for me or don't vote for these people. That should be shut down immediately by the chair. I do believe there should be an opportunity for candidates that are running in the district to be able to speak, because that's a good forum. And I think that should be something that happens. And I do think we need to be careful where there's board members that are using their positions, especially, and I'll share this in my email to you, with the legislative discussions, priorities, and being the representative for the liaison or the person that gets to speak on behalf of the board for different legislative decisions that they make to, go with a bill or not go with a bill. So that's another concern I have. I think it needs to be, again, an unbiased, non-political board, but allowing candidates during election time to get up and speak just for the regular elections. And if you're going to do something where you let people speak for the neighborhood boards as a candidate, then everybody gets an opportunity that's running as a candidate at each neighborhood board to get to speak. So that would be a new thing. I don't think I've seen that before. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry.
Yeah, Kevin and Greg, I understand what you're saying, but I got to tell you, I would prefer that if I have a board member that is running for an elected position, that I want them to be transparent. I want them to make the community accountable, and also the individual to be accountable at that point. Because once they say that they're running, now when it comes to conflict of interest, I'm monitoring that. I just want to tell you that I really think it's part of transparency.
Thank you. Christian, go ahead, please.
I very much agree with what Larry said. And in addition to that, I believe that what we do with the neighborhood board is inherently political. By having these politicians give their updates and talk about what they're doing in the community is also inherently political. And by having a group of citizens who are showing up over internet or in person to participate in their government is also inherently political. And so the least I think we can do for these candidates, I don't think we should allow the grandstanding, but I think if they want to announce their candidacy or introduce themselves to the community at large, I think it puts them on even footing with the politicians who are already there talking about the good work that they're trying to do on behalf of the community.
Thank you. Just to be clear, I think we're all on the same page. It's that you can just say your name and the office you're running for. You can't say the political party. The chair should cut off any discussion of that or what they intend to do, or anything like that. It's just name and they're running, and that's it. I guess Jacob, go ahead since you don't speak.
Thank you, Chair. I understand the concerns about making sure that you correctly identify conflicts of interest and whatnot. And I do think that if the neighborhood boards had more official power and official duties and responsibilities outside of their advisory role, we would be having a much different conversation in a much different place. I do think it's important to keep a sense of proportion here, that the neighborhood boards are, community forums, and politics, including partisan politics, often can't be separated. And, even without formal rules, I will applaud neighborhood boards for being apolitical in that even if you have a sitting board member who's often running for office, or someone in the community introducing themselves during the community forum section, voters see how these prospective candidates behave, and if they politicize or behave inappropriately, even if it might be technically allowable behavior, voters will take that into consideration. So I'm not too worried about neighborhood board members running for partisan office, or people in the community using community forum to announce candidacies or make political speeches, right? That's I believe, the time of the community to community members to say what's on their mind. And especially for political candidates for office, that they already know, hopefully, what to say, how to behave. And if they don't, then they voters will notice and will respond appropriately at the ballot box.
Thank you. Okay, so like I said, it's name, office, and during public concerns. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, just one more thing. In all fairness to those candidates, the boards have opportunities to hold candidate forums, and that is the appropriate time to be able to talk about what they want to talk about for the community.
So, do any of the commissioners want to change this as sort of to change the policy of how this is handled, and that is name, office, and during public concerns? Is there any objection to the current policy? I don't know if it's official, but that's basically what we said. Okay, well, Tom, very quickly, please.
I just raised this one point at the moment, and that is to limit it to the public concerns time. I think is inappropriate. The reason for that is this: if I have somebody coming into a board, and dealt with a few people very recently exactly on this, is that once the meeting is called to order, I'm sorry, this is not on the agenda, but the disclosure should be made as soon as possible at the start of that particular meeting. So it's an announcement by a board member. It's an unusual one. But my recommendation is not to reserve it for the public concerns, but rather simply to make sure under the element of disclosure that the member is encouraged to, be recognized by the chair and make that announcement as early as possible at the first appropriate meeting. The disclosure's made, it's part of the minutes, you're done. There has been other discussion recently by some other folks as to, does that single disclosure satisfy it? Or should they be making that disclosure at every meeting? I lend on the first time, but I understand the desire to perhaps have it more than that. But I wouldn't limit it to just public concerns at that moment of the agenda.
Okay, well,
Thanks.
I personally would disagree. I think it's a perfect time, and I don't think it's covered by the Sunshine Law because it's not something the board has control over, so it's not a business, a subject of board business. But that's my feeling. Does anybody want to change the policy? I'll ask the board, the commission members again. Okay, hearing none. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, Kevin, but we got to move on. The next is responses to commission inquiries. Now, given the time, I would respectfully ask if we could table this. And I know, Kevin, I promised we'd go through this, but it is a little late. And if you want the proper attention given to this, I will make it a priority for the next meeting. Would that be okay with you? I am sorry that you waited around for this long.
Sure,
And
thank you.
waited for
I appreciate
response.
that. I should be in this time zone next month as well. So as far as I know, that should be okay.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're out, this is really, I mean, this deals with a lot of issues in front of everybody, but you're the focus of the question, so please let me know your availability. I apologize that we're gonna table this once more without objection. We're gonna defer this to next meeting. Thank you, Kevin, for agreeing. I appreciate it. I didn't think that our agenda would take quite this long. So just to skip number C, 5C. We're going to go on to 5D just very quickly, and I just will say that I'm visiting a number of boards and sort of collecting some information. I'll get with Lloyd. I want to get with Larry and maybe come up with some best practices if we see things that are outstanding. And it's going pretty well. I mean, I've only visited, I think, 7 or 8 now, but it seems like a lot more. But when you look at the list, it doesn't. So anyway, that's all I have to say on that. So I don't know if you want to add anything. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking at April. Unfortunately, this month I had a lot scheduled for other commitments and I could not get out of those. But for April, I'll be visiting IAEA, Milani Mauka, Milani Waipio, Waianae Coast, and then in May, I'll have Nanakuli, Salt Lake, and trying to get Waiwa. Unfortunately, Waiwa is on my neighborhood plan day. So, and both of us need to be there, so we'll have to figure that one out. But that's what I got.
Thank you very much. So without any questions, we will, no questions, right? We'll move on to committee reports, Larry.
Yeah, for committee reports, neighborhood plan, our last meeting, we completed review of chapter 13 powers and duties of the neighborhood boards. On April 20th, we're going to start chapter 14. This is a very important chapter because with the NCO survey and also the neighborhood commission survey that was sent out over a year ago, what I want to do is I want to take those key issues that were brought up in the survey and make sure that we review those as we go along in each of the segments of chapter 14, and that'll be the rules of neighborhood boards. So it should be an exciting next 2 to 3 meetings. I want to really get through that, but I do also want to be efficient as far as doing what's right and make the necessary changes. Chair, that's all I got. And
Yeah.
next meeting is, I thought I wrote that down, 3rd week in April.
It's on our calendar, but thank you, Larry. I was supposed to put, I think because it got delayed, the chapter 18, kind of a final approval. So I forgot to put it on the agenda, I guess, because we just approved it that night, the night before the agenda was due. So please, all the commissioners, take a look at that, members of the public too. This is hopefully the commission will be okay with it, but please take a look at it. If you have any questions, you can email me directly or just have them ready. But I would hope you'd email so we can hopefully pass it out next meeting. With that said, we'll move to our announcements. And the only announcement is our next meeting, which will be April 20th. I guess the neighborhood plan is April 13th. So the next meeting, April 20th at 6 o'clock, Kapalama Halley and WebEx. Are there any other announcements? Yes, go ahead, please.
I'm reading the agenda as differently. Neighborhood plan on April 20, next commission meeting on April 27.
Oh, yes, I misread it. Sorry. Thank you very much. I misread it. You're right. It's April 20th for the plan. Sorry, my glasses aren't as, I guess I need it for a prescription upgrade. Okay, any further announcements? Thank you for that clarification. If not, I will declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.